Do you ever get asked what you want to do with your life and feel this wave of panic? Not because you haven't thought about it, but because you genuinely have no idea. Or maybe you used to know exactly who you were, and now you look in the mirror and feel like a stranger. Or you're surrounded by people who seem so sure of themselves, and you're wondering why you're the only one who feels completely unfinished or lost. I need you to hear something. You're not behind. You are doing exactly what your brain is supposed to be doing right now. And that's what this episode is about. Hello, boyfriend, and welcome to the listening place. Before we get started, I would like to introduce you to the star of our show. This is Miss Zelda Fitzgerald. She is my co-host and my emotional support animal, who I absolutely adore. She brings me so much happiness, and I hope that she brings a smile to your face while you're visiting us here today. At your age, it can sometimes feel overwhelming to think about what your future looks like. You may feel lost, unorganized, confused, and even pressured by adults, your peers, even yourself, to know what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. To help you understand what's going on, you must first understand that inside of your brain, you have a part that is called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex in your brain is responsible for knowing who you are, making decisions, and understanding your own values. Regardless of gender, education, socioeconomic status, religion, etc., this part of your brain doesn't actually finish developing until your mid-20s. During this time in your life right now, your prefrontal cortex is actively being built over and over again. Each time you learn something new, your brain is building new connections, rewiring and restructuring. It happens all day, every day. Asking someone your age to have a fully formed sense of identity is like asking someone to drive a car that's still being built. Confusion isn't a character flaw. It's neurological and scheduled. The part of your brain that's responsible for knowing who you are and what you want is just not done yet. And it won't be done until you're around 25 or so. So if you feel lost right now, that's not you failing at being a person. You're right on schedule. The question of who am I is actually quite the point of what being a teen is all about. As a young child, you're learning about the ways of the world and learning how to interact with other people outside of your family. And into your teenagehood or adolescence, you are learning about who you are, what you enjoy, the type of people you like to be around, and what your identity could potentially be. So when you're not sure of the answer to the question, who am I? It's not a sign that something is wrong. Figuring out your identity can sometimes feel like a failure. You try one thing and maybe you're not the best at it. And then you try something else and you might get the same result. But you may find that you learn something that you are really great at. In either case, you are forming your identity that will likely stay with you now and into your future. Every teenager is meant to be in the middle of this who am I questioning. The problem isn't the confusion. It's that nobody tells you that the confusion is actually supposed to be there. Active exploration without yet committing to a path is one of the healthiest places a teenager can be. Psychologists have literally worked this out. There's a whole phase in life called identity development that's just called trying out without knowing it. You're not stuck, you're exploring, and those are completely different things. Think about the high school experience and how there are so many different opportunities for you to try new things. Sports or clubs, music, theater, art. There's a reason for that design, and it's important to do your best to take advantage of any opportunity that you might find interesting because it will help you as your identity grows and your prefrontal cortex develops. So, I'm going to tell you something that you probably have never heard before. Your friends and peers who seem to be so sure of themselves that they know what they're going to be doing with their lives are actually also trying to figure it out too. They just might not say so. Many teenagers don't actually reach a self-chosen sense of who they are well into young adulthood, which typically means after high school or even into college. Something to understand about your peers who seem very confident is that it's not always the reality. it is almost always performance. Social media can absolutely amplify this and make it seem like another teenager has everything together. Teens make highlight reels or posts that make it seem like they're not as lost as everyone else. Well, privately, they too are experiencing the same confusion as you are. Feeling lost in a sea of people who seem sure of themselves is one of the most isolating parts of being a teenager and is almost universally based on a fake reality. And I want to be honest with you, the people around you who seem totally sure of who they are, most are performing confidence and not actually feeling it. You're not the only one who doesn't know. You just might be the only one who is saying it out loud. So how do you actually figure out your identity between now and your mid-20s? Because honestly, that feels like a long way away. As human beings, we are always looking for real information about who we are. Something to truly understand is that identity isn't something you think your way into. It's something that you discover while doing things. A really great way of figuring out a part of who you are is to pay attention to what makes you lose track of time. There's something called a flow state, which essentially is when you engage in an activity or activities that absorb you so completely that you lose track of time. This is one of the most reliable signals of genuine interest and natural strength that you might have. When you're told that you need to figure out who you are, you often approach it as a thinking problem, and it's not. It's an attention problem. So the question isn't, who do I want to be? But what am I actually drawn to when nobody is watching and nothing is at stake? Stop trying to figure out who you are by not thinking and starting to notice what you actually do. What do you get into so much that you forget to check your phone? What do you stay up late doing? What do you come back to when no one has told you to? That's not random. It's information telling you who you are. In addition to paying attention to what makes you lose track of time, try things that you're always not so sure about. Being lost or really not knowing who you are or what you like is literal permission to experiment. Teens who actively explore different interests, values, paths, even ones that don't actually work out, develop stronger, more stable identities than those who either try to commit to something too early or give up exploring entirely. Trying and failing is not a waste of time. It's a mechanism that your brain needs that helps you to understand what you like and what you don't. Every interest you may try and abandon says something very real about yourself. Every activity that turns out to not be for you narrows the field and shows you what's right for you. Being lost is permission to try things you're not sure about, to join the club you might hate, to say yes to something, just to see. You don't have to commit to anything. You're allowed to just try it. Every single thing you try, even the things that don't turn out to be totally for you, is teaching you something real about who you are. One of the most unsettling parts about being a teenager and not being fully sure of what your identity is that there are numerous external things that can impact you. What you want to do, who your friends are, what you're interested in. These things keep shifting. Ensuring that you have a stable sense of core values or an inner compass gives you a sense of self, even when everything else might be uncertain. Anchor yourself to your values, not your plans. Values don't change as fast as everything else does. You don't need to know your career path to know that you care about honesty or kindness or creativity or justice. These values are already yours. Connecting to them provides a sense of identity that doesn't depend on having everything figured out. You don't have to know what you want to do to know who you are. Think about what actually matters to you, not your job, your future, just what do you care about? What makes you really angry when it's violated? What makes you feel really proud? Those are your values, and they are part of you right now, even while everything else is still being figured out. Maintaining these anchored values will help guide you toward the right path to your true identity. Now, I'm going to tell you something that not a lot of people will. The pressure to have your entire life figured out by 17 is a modern invention, and it's not real. The expectation that you should know your identity, career path, and life path before leaving high school is cultural and institutional, not an actual developmental reality. Remember that part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, does not develop until your mid-20s. Research consistently shows that most meaningful identity happens in young adulthood. The pressure that you have to figure it out comes from college application systems, comparisons of other people, social media. It's not actually how human development works. Committing to an identity that was never genuinely chosen often is someone else's idea of who you should be and not of who you think you should be. The whole system, starting with the "what do you want to be when you grow up" question at age 5, college applications at 17, needing a plan. That pressure is real, but the timeline it implies is not. Your brain isn't supposed to have this figured out yet. The pressure to know is a cultural thing. The not knowing is a human thing. And the human thing is the one that you can actually trust. The people who feel the most lost often end up finding the most purposeful path. Teenagers who engage in deep identity exploration, even if it's uncomfortable or disorienting, tend to develop richer, more self-authored identities as adults. That means that they were the one who had the control of who they are, instead of allowing others to guide them in that way. The discomfort of feeling lost is not a sign of a worse outcome. It is often a sign of someone taking the question seriously. Some of the most purposeful, self-aware adults spend their teens feeling exactly like you do right now, myself included. I had no clue what I wanted to do as a teenager. And it took me years to find out who I actually was. And to be completely honest with you, I'm still trying to figure it out. I want to leave you with this. The fact that you're watching this video, that you're asking the question, that you care about figuring yourself out, that means something. The people who feel the most lost and keep searching anyway, they tend to end up somewhere really, really meaningful. The searching isn't a detour, it's a path. I felt this way too, and I really wish someone had told me it was normal. Drop in the comments below, when you think about what makes you lose track of time, what comes to mind? If any of this helped you today, please consider liking our video, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with a friend who might need to hear this. Thank you for visiting us today at the Listening Place. Remember who you are, remember what you stand for, and return with honor. Right. Say bye, Zelly Sleepy Baby. Bye.